Okay, so I'm on Stuckey with Bill with Stuckies, and I think I just wanted to come straight to you and just ask you a couple questions, but really directed towards why do you build a brand, right? Okay, so why do you build a brand, right? The first thing, figure out what to do because you're gonna go on Instagram, you're gonna go on Facebook, and you're gonna build on social media the people that you want to showcase your talent or your skill. You're gonna build that following, right? So when we first started, we built veganish foodies. That was just off the top, right? We didn't really have anything in particular. We didn't have a product, so we built a following, right? Within that, within the first year or so, we had like 4,000 people organically back in 2017, right? Um, we didn't keep nourishing that, but we did appreciate where it went. From there, we went to immediately um, creating a book because now we're trying to get this out to our audience. And we continue down the line of creating products or services, which is why we have the VFC Kitchen catering, which is why we have a sauce, everything sauce, which is why we have several ebooks that we've made, which is why we have an e-course, which is why we have an annual challenge, which is why we even did a spinoff in a collaboration with somebody else off our strength of our brand, and we created a veg fest, right? Like all underneath that brand, right? We've done pop ups, we've been on radio shows, we've been in accelerator programs, we've been on the cover of different magazines, um, um, won awards, like different things from a brand point of view. Not really having any money vested into anything too much. I mean, we put some dollars in it to build things, obviously, but that was from off the top. You can just build the following and you can have affiliate programs. Um, you can click into merchandise if you wanted to do stuff like that. Um, Subscriptions. You can make a podcast. So a podcast is another way to build your brand with no money, minimum investment. Or you can go on the Anchor app, right, and just tap in, and then that's going to send it out to everything. We have a podcast. It actually allows you to be on Google and Shopify, Spotify. So that's awesome. Like for nothing, we can go Google and put in veganish foodies and Spotify, and we're on there, right? From something that we uploaded to YouTube. Truthfully, building the brand on YouTube as well, right? So building a brand is very simplistic. That's why I say build with Stuckey. The goal is to just build. That's the main thing. Learn all the tools you can and just apply them. I show you how to make a YouTube channel. I show you how to build with technology. I give you the mindset pieces that go with it, right? But you're really trying to build a brand. That's the most simplistic thing that you could do to build a brand, right? Well, is build a brand, right? And then two, don't worry about my chicken scratch. Two, you got like the mid-level things that you can do. So that's like when people want to do like Airbnb, right? Like, but now you got to have a crib or you got to have a house, something to that level where you can actually set it up so that it could work. Or if you want to do Toro around a car, like now you have that, it's your car, but now you either have to find the time to put your car in there or have another car and then be able to set up the renter's insurance setup and then do that. It's not impossible to do, but it's about mid level, right? And then what I would say is something else that is more mid level is like something like Macari right here, right? So you would go here and you could sell stuff that you already own. Macari is sort of like eBay, right? So I mean, it's almost similar. You just selling your products, almost like Facebook Marketplace, right? But you can set up like a shop or whatever the case may be, or your own profile. So that way, it's you selling stuff, and then people can figure out where you're located and get the stuff that you have as far as that goes. So just thing about eBay, Mercari, you know, And then on another note, you can go to like Redbubble. Redbubble is almost like a Teespring. Same thing, right? So you're going to set up a store. But again, if you had a brand, this is without a brand. That's why it says mid level. So mid level is like you don't have a brand. You're just hopping and doing something. So if you're hopping and doing something, maybe you started with an Airbnb, maybe you started with renting out your car or something like that. You don't have to know anybody to do that. You hop on the app, you fill out the Turo app, you fill out the Airbnb app, whatever it is, you get your stuff in there, and then you start. Same thing with this. You want to sell clothes, you go on eBay. You just make a listing, you put your clothes on eBay, you put it on Facebook Marketplace, you put it on Mercari, right? You set that up. Same thing with this Redbubble. You want to, at a minimum, because you're at a minimum, right? This is, you just starting, you just came with an idea, you want to try something. You go on Canva.com. I got the training for Canva.com that I give you and Gumroad. So you got a platform you can sell it on. You don't even have to have internet knowledge as far as you needing to build a website or anything of that nature. It already comes with a landing page. It already has email marketing in it. Gumroad, it has everything you need in it. And then Canva is going to give you all the designs that you need. I give you a few tips just in case you don't purchase the pro version. But I used the free version for years before I even started using the pro version. And I have Photoshop, and I still use Canva. Because it's just simplistic. You can just get online with the online cloud based server. It just kind of helps out where you can just be in a tab and open it up and start designing. So that's good. But I'm saying that because you can now take your design and your drawing and you can bring it and upload it to one of these things, to like one of these type of services like a Teesprings. Teespring is free too. We have a gift shop. Um, or you can go to like Redbubble, use it the same way, and now you put your stuff on top of mugs and on top of T-shirts, and you start. This is where you start to brand yourself, but this is harder if you didn't already create the brand. The brand takes a little while. Like I said, we started in 2017, right? And even before that, I was doing startup with Stuckey, and I had I know I had raw skincare, but I had is it Our Journey? No, it wasn't Our Journey. Um, it was a travel. Wow. If I can find if I find my card, I'll post it. I know I have the graphic in my Photoshop. So, oh, Speedy Travel. Bam, speedytravel.com. That was me, right? Um, so I had those different entities that I was working with. I was mainly just trying to build myself as a business person, but I was all over the place. Nobody can really identify the one thing that I was doing. So it wasn't until I transitioned into the plant based, and it wasn't until we started talking about eating plant based and identifying as we helping people to transition because we went through the plant based lifestyle. But that's just me. That was just what I used to move forward with. You don't have to do that, but mid level, that's kind of where you start with. Then the next thing you could do is probably like an Amazon, where you can just have your affiliate links, or you can be an Amazon seller, and you can pick products on Amazon or whatever the case may be, and move forward with that because those are like all mid level where it might require you a little bit of money, but it's more hustle and know how, right? But that's still going to be like a little difficult. It's going to have a little bit of difficulty that it's going to have is not going to be bad. It shouldn't deter you from doing anything. But it's definitely not the same as if you just building a brand and you have this passion behind your brand and you build it and organically people are coming to follow you and then you just sharing the stuff that you know, like, and then people are getting to know, like, and trust you, right? From like a podcast or Instagram or like Facebook. Um, so when you're mid level, people don't like necessarily know you, right? But you're still building, you're still figuring things out and you're still creating things. You get to use your creative brain. So you can still be at a job or something and be doing this stuff mid level. But I'm telling you, building a brand is the best thing because once you start there, that's your idea. You went to the DBA, you went downtown, got your DBA, or you got your EIN number online, or you went and got your logo made, or you create your website. Like little by little, you're building this thing, right? Or you went and got your store or your storefront, you got your signage, you got the furniture. Like you're building this thing, you're creating this thing. Basically, like it's almost like Legos. Like you should start putting the pieces together to build this vision, right? Mid level is kind of like you inserting yourself in somewhere and just and getting off the ground running, right? That's what like mid level is. And I think we tried it all. I mean, I know I've tried them all. That's what I'm telling you. Which I think number one is building your brand. Like that was the most. That's been the most natural thing I've been able to do. Even when I just made build with Stuckey, it's natural. It's really me. 9 years of my expertise in different skill sets to here give this to you. Know how standing in front of the room, be able to talk to people. Those different things, making videos, all these different things that I'm already good at. Now I can take that, put it in a course, give it to you. Like, here you go. Um, and it should be valuable to the person that is trying to make a transition or somebody who's in between that idea of this or that and just needs a little, oh, okay, this is how you do that. Or that's a little bit more simplistic than I thought. Thanks, Lamont, build with me, right? I see you doing stuff, so I know I can do this kind of stuff, right? Very simplistic. Then hard becomes like, so like I said, like if you were trying to do the Teespring or if you were trying to do that Redbubble thing and you didn't have a brand, that's going to be a little bit more difficult, right? That's not necessarily mid level. Um, I mean, Macari and eBay is mid level because you're just selling your clothes, your actual physical. Let me sell these boots that I don't wear no more. Let me throw on this P coat. I don't wear this no more. I got an army coat, got a hoodie, champ hoodie. I don't wear this no more. These sneakers. I don't wear these no more, right? So you just throw that on and you sell that. When you get the Teesprings and you have to make the design, yeah, I just showed you how to do it for a minimum, but you're competing with other people who have expertise in Photoshop, or you're competing with people who have a large following, so they want their shirt that says, "Yeah, man, this is cool." They want that from them. They don't know you, right? So now you're in a space where it's a little harder because you have to actually build that brand on top of that. And you don't know you're so dedicated because most people love their brand. Most people love their product or service off rip. You love it. It's like your child, you birthed something, you just made this, right? So you're not thinking about it in the sense of, uh, everybody don't like this yet. Everybody don't know me. Everybody don't know, like, trust me yet to even like my style. But then you plastering your big face on your shirt or your logo on your shirt or something to that nature. Like everybody wants to walk around proud with your I'm the best in the city.com or like um two chicks and we bad as hell, um, with your hair or your face or your ponytails on it. Like everybody's not gonna walk around with that. You know? Now kids do sell a little bit better. So you may be able to be onto something like that if you made like the mini mogul club, something like that. I'm not knocking them like that. I think those are all good ideas. I think kids are better suited to be like known, liked, and trusted, right? So it's easier to buy whatever they're selling, right? So, but it's the adults that are kind of like trying to step out, like they're Nike already, or they're Balenciaga already, so they can just do this gaudy stuff, or they can. Like, you gotta start small. You gotta kind of collab with people. You gotta like do your thing, but put that little X sign, and then put somebody else's a little bit above, so it gives you the clout to pick up your thing. You gotta put other people's shirts faces on their shirt for their event, and you just kind of fall back what they recommend you as the designer or the person that did it, like that kind of thing. Not saying don't get your merch out there, not saying don't, but you gotta like what is your field, like especially with clothing, like what is your thing, like oh you just came out with a whole line, like even some of these fashion artists, fashion designers have pieces. I forgot the name bag. I'm having a brain for stump, but they have select pieces that they put out, um, for that time period for the spring, the fall, um, or even for that showing, right? Like those are the little pieces. Those are the pieces that they're using, and then that's it. You don't get no more. But then sometimes when you first start off, you just got to be known as a person that makes T-shirts, or you got to be known as a person that makes hoodies. But if you got T-shirts, hoodies, bags, you got sneakers, pants, shirts, you just came out as full blown. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong with it at all. But that should be a brand already established. Like people should already know about that, and then they're buying it because they know you came out with something else. They know you came out with something else. Versus you just came out and you got everything on deck, and now you competing with Champion because that's who you're really competing with, right? I mean, 9 times out of 10, especially if you somebody like me, you went and got Carhartt Champion, you went and got Polo or Glydian or whatever. But these brands are already established with that same product that you trying to put your name on and then resell it to somebody else for a little bit more, right? So like that's a little harder because they've already entered in the market, and for next to nothing, they can throw champion across the front, put it on the side, whatever the case may be. But they've been established for years. You're just coming out, so you almost have to go like no name or really have a brand that's showing people that this is who you are, right? But you can be like walking dogs, like that. You can go on Udemy and share your personal uh, thoughts. What is it? Intellectual property. And when you go on Udemy, I mean, so I say Udemy because you can go like Teachable or Thinkific or like even Gumroad, right? But Udemy is a little better because it's a marketplace. So I think I used this analogy before. Like you can go on Shopify and put your stuff in the store, and then work on branding and getting your stuff out there, or you can just get in on Amazon or Walmart and have your stuff already in a marketplace where people are already searching and looking for that kind of stuff. So it's the same kind of thing with Udemy. Like people go to Udemy and they're already looking for whatever it is that you have to offer. And on Udemy, I mean, you can have any type of know-how and make a course, but you're not going to get paid that much. Um, so you don't want to put your, you don't want to put it up too high because it won't sell. That's the first thing. You're in a marketplace now. Now it's competition. Before you probably could sell something for like $60, $100, but until somebody knows exactly who you are, until you have a whole bunch of reviews and results, you're nobody, and you probably got to sell that for next to nothing or at least a comparable price. And then the other thing you got to know is they take like 50%. It might even be like up to 70%. So that's why sometimes you go there, you see it's like $20, $10, whatever. Like they splitting the price and they take it like half. So basically, it might be on sale for $20 and you got 10. But that's cool if you got a bunch of people to buy your course for $20, and all you had to do is put it on this platform, and then people are just buying it because of the topic that you're talking about, right? But I told you it's hard. Like, it's a little bit more difficult, right? Just like I said, walking the dog, like, that's self-explanatory. Um, so when you do work like by the gig, that's hard too because if you've never I started off making flyers, right? If you've never done that kind of work for somebody, people don't know what they want. It's very irritating to try to appease somebody and they don't know what they want in the first place. Let alone you trying to get your skill set up to be human resources and be customer service and be amicable and be peaceful and keep integrity and be empathetic. Like you just taking on you turn into a psychiatrist therapist, right? Just trying to appease one customer, one person who's trying to get your time. And then sometimes they don't want to pay a deposit, they don't want to pay, they don't want to help you to help them because you need simple things in there. It's like pulling teeth trying to get them to do the simple, like, hey, can you fill out the survey? Can you tell me the color? Can you reach back? And this could be through email, text message, doesn't matter. Sometimes people feel like they are the one. So now you need to kiss their ass basically to get whatever done, which kind of is what you're doing because you are a servant. Once you are somebody is you're there to serve somebody. Like, as a business, normally you're there to serve somebody. So that's what it is. That's why this is in the hard level, right? But that's what I said. Washing cars, like washing cars is hard. Like you would think, like, oh yeah, let me just set up a little car wash event or something like that. And wash a few people's car. Would that hard work? You ever wash your own car? You'd be sweating and everything after you wash your car. Now do 10 of those, 20 of those. That's not easy work. I'm not saying it's impossible. None of the stuff I'm saying is impossible. This is all the levels of entrepreneurship. You know, like if people do all these things up and down. Even giving blood is hard, right? Like how many times can you do that? Um, does it hurt your veins? Um, like it's just like a ton of different things that you can do. What does my other note say right here? Um, oh, so like when you go on Upwork and Fiverr and all that stuff, again, you're in a marketplace with other people. So like sometimes you like you can sell your skill sets online. Like yeah, that's not impossible to do, but now you're online, so now you have to lowball basically to build up the reputation again, so people can get to know you. You're almost better doing word of mouth work versus going to the marketplace of Upwork or Udemy or freelancer.com or whatever to put your skill set up there. Not saying that you don't put it up there because if you're the topper if you don't went to school for this, if you like a lot of people who went to school and then they got fired from their job and this is what they did their whole life. Well, yeah, you put your skill set up here on this, somebody's gonna hire you. Like if I'm looking to develop a game or I'm trying to make an app or something like that, I'm on one of these apps. I'm looking for people, right? But the same thought process goes through, or I'm looking for a marketing person. I'm looking for whatever I'm looking for, a virtual assistant. The same thing is going to apply for you putting yourself up there. It's hard because you have to compete with the other people that are on this marketplace. So you can be dope, but there can be somebody who's just a little bit more dope. Or you can be skilled, but there could be somebody that's a little bit more skilled. So like what sets you apart? Or what like now you have it's almost like putting your resume out there and then also the people are looking at the comments and the likes and the work that you've done. Hopefully you got some work done. And then is there a tip or a trick to get so now you had to be on here a little bit. You probably had to take a couple gigs that weren't the price point that you want so you can get the review that you need. It's all business. It's all the same thing. But if you did it reverse, where you built a brand already, and now you told people who know about your brand, know, like, trust you, that, hey, I'm over here on Fiverr, and just come over here and come see me, because they know you from wherever you built your brand at, they'll come leave a review for you. And now when they leave a review, it's going to help other people to come follow behind and be like, oh, these people that they don't know left a review, and now they're saying, hey, that's good, I need to get that, right? The other thing is like, going to a bank to get the loan, you don't always realize how much, how many things you, it's almost like going to buy a house to get a loan, right? If you ever went to go buy a house or if you ever went through the steps of buying a house, like your credit got to be right. You know, you have to have a job, right? You have to have a source of cash flow, some income. You have to have some money, some assets backed up, right? Like to get a loan, it's almost the same thing. Now, if you're getting a business loan, I will tell you it's way easier, right? But to try to get a personal loan to start a business is like the hardest thing, right? For some odd reasons, like it's reverse. I think once you become a business, you start seeing all the benefits and the tax breaks and the ease of things being a business owner. But when you're not a business owner, you're a customer. You're on the other side of that, so you don't get none of the breaks, and they make it way more difficult. They make you feel like you need a lot of money. Really, you just need decent credit or some cash flow, right? Cash flow kind of shows what the bank is trying to look for. And nowadays, we're in this crypto age where if you had some crypto, you probably would have some more stability unless it was going down, but you could still put your money in this stable coin and it will stay whatever it is versus the bank only giving you a percentage of it. You could stake your money. I can go on and on about that, but the point of what I'm saying is it's hard, man, like trying to get a loan. um, I went and I even had somebody like good credit, and then I ran into they had too much. They had too many. They had a couple of loans already out. Like they had a house and a car on their credit. So adding the amount that I went to get would have put them above 50%, I believe. And you have to have a balance of like the ratio of the money that you actually have available to the money that you can pay back has to be balanced. So if you start to go above, then now they start questioning your cash flow, and they basically remind you like you can't do that because you're not sending out enough money to borrow against that. Because if something were to happen, you can't get that back. So you don't even think about that is coming into play. Let alone you don't have no money or you don't have a cosigner. You're definitely getting denied, right? So like it's just more difficult. Then you go for a grant. You can get a grant, right? We've gotten plenty of grants, so there are ways to do that. But you have to have a business that's established, right? That's what they're looking for. They're looking for the one or 2 years of establishment. So when we first started, we were trying to get grants, and they're like, yeah, we need some something that shows how much money you make. So that goes right back to building a brand and kind of showing and proving that you can do different things off rip when you first start, and getting like a little trail and getting a little buzz. So that way, when you go to approach, you say, hey, I did this or I got this going, right? Other than that, you just start backward, and it's going to make you frustrated if you go to get a loan or something of that nature, and any of these other things, obstacles come into your way. Because imagine you have all your ducks in a row and they're still like, we need a year's worth of records. We need 2 years worth of rec transactions. Or you have to have this much transactions before we can even consider giving you anything. And then on personal, maybe it's just you don't have the right whatever I'm saying, or maybe you got everything right on a personal, and then they only go up to 15 grand and you need 50, and they're like, no, we can't give you 50, like loops and hoops. And then the last thing is food. I kind of end on that because we've done catering, we've done pop ups, we've done events, large events, small events. Um, Food is hard, man. I think it's a good turnout. I think it's a good turnaround. You can definitely make some money selling some plates, right? But food is hard because with selling food, um, you gotta consider the cost of things, um, and then you gotta also consider uh, what's the other thing you gotta consider? Your time that it takes to prep things. I think that's the thing that kind of threw me off the most was the time it took to prep things because I just didn't think that it would take so long. I didn't think that an idea to make this would take this long to create this. Like, oh, this was 20 minutes to prep, but then it takes 3 hours to cook, and then it takes, like it's just like a whole different. Cooking is different, man. And I just say I respect all the real chefs that go to school for it, and I respect the cooks that believe that they're good enough to hang with those chefs. Either way, you have to have a good balance of know-how, vision, creativity, taste, um, style, um, and I want to say you probably have to have some kind of math skills because you have to kind of do portions and you got to figure out like how much you got to make to feed this amount of people. And I found that to be like difficult because sometimes when you make those large pans, you don't necessarily know how much those large pans will feed until you made a large pan and it fed this amount of people. I mean, just think you made one of those big, large, um, um, why can't I think of the name of it? Restaurant pans. That's not what they're called. Huh. Well, the ones that go in the chauffeur rack, right? I don't know why. The full ones. Uh, those pans probably can feed 50 people. But put some mac and cheese in there and get you a scooper that takes out one-fourth of a cup. You might feed 75 people because you put one-fourth of a cup in there or half a cup. It's just scooping. Like once you start doing portions at the right amount, you're gonna get it. Sometimes they take the ice cream scooper, and that's the portion that you get. That's how much mashed potatoes you're gonna get. That's how much mac and cheese you're gonna get. That's how much, you know. And then you're only getting a ice cream scoop full. But when you add that up and then you put a protein with it, that's enough. And then that's how you get your $10 plate or your $12 plate. You spread out the sides, but you had to cook all that stuff. Imagine you only got four burners in the oven and you're trying to cook for 100 people and you don't have anywhere to put the food or you're trying to go to Restaurant Depot. Now here goes this. Here goes a tip. You can go to Restaurant Depot if you have any business. But you have to have a business to go to Restaurant Depot. Other than that, the regular public cannot go to Restaurant Depot. In the Restaurant Depot, they have all the restaurant stuff, all the stuff you want to get in bulk, all the stuff, almost like a BJ's or a Costco's, but for restaurants. Isn't that crazy? Like, I mean, it's not really crazy, but it's just something that you should be aware of. Like, you can get your pants, you can get your gloves, you can get your food. Obviously, I mean, you get seafood at a cheaper price, so you can do a seafood boil or, excuse me, a seafood, a fish fry or a baked potato event or a breakfast event. You go get your eggs, you can go get your everything's there. This is where most. Just think about it. In most areas, this is where they got the restaurants go to get their stuff in bulk. So with that being said, it's a little difficult, right? This is why food is hard. This is why food is hard. Food is hard because you have to prep. You have to get a lot of things ready. to make the food be the thing that works, but it's worth it. And the end, if you got a steak plate, steak meal, or something like that, if you have a steak and cheese, anything, um, you're winning, right? You can probably sell that for $15, $20, depending on where you at. But you got to prep that. And then now with the prices of food and inflation, um, you have to upcharge things. And then with food, you also got to think about delivery or pickup. You have to think about the utensils and the containers that you're putting your food in. Is it biodegradable? Is it not? Depending on who you're trying to serve it to, right? I mean, this is just real things that come into play with food, right? Is this thing gonna drip? Do you need the little plastic piece that goes in there so it's not just going on the cardboard paper? Each different meal or each thing usually needs its own serving space or container. You gotta add in forks. You gotta put all that stuff into the price. And sometimes you don't think about that. Sometimes you're just like, oh, I got some food stamps, or oh, I got a couple of dollars, or oh, I have an idea that I'm gonna go cook me a plate. It works the first time. You make a couple $100. You're like, yeah. So you sell a couple plates. You do it a couple times, and then you realize, dang man, like I'm running back and forth to the store with my car. I'm not even adding that up. Um, I'm kind of forced the containers I need. I'm forced to spend $40 on the containers because I can't get like 20 or 30. I know I'm only gonna sell 30 plates, but I gotta go get 150 of these containers at $75 a box or $69 a box, right? You might find a place that sells them individually, but they upselling them, so you gotta find it in between. You can get the cheap one from the dollar store, but they cheap. So that's exactly what's gonna happen. You use cheap, you get cheap. This is when the food falls out or something breaks or something of that nature. You get the cheap utensils. They melt when they go in the food, or like those different things. Like don't do no events because you need a warmer or you need to go get a whole generator. You got to rent a generator because you don't have the money to buy a generator. So now you got to go find a place that lets you rent a generator. You ever had to rent a generator before? I definitely had to rent a generator before, right? You got to rent a U-Haul to get there because you don't have none of these things, but you signed up for the event. You didn't even think about that. You're like, oh, it's only $50. I'm gonna go make a couple $100. But then you're like, how do I get all this stuff here? You gotta get tables, you gotta get tents. This is if you're going outside, but I mean, you just thought you were gonna sell a plate, right? Even if you're gonna sell a plate at a location, you gotta go get permits for selling food. You can try to do it under the table. There is a law in most states, especially in Massachusetts, where you can sell food directly to somebody. You can sell products directly to somebody. You can't ship them over the state lines though. Um, but you can do that. But again, it starts to get like I said, I catered for how many people were it? I want to say it was over a couple hundred people. We had to drive it 20, 30 minutes away. So when we accepted it, like, yeah, 300 people, that's easy. We could do that. It was a college and everything. We're like, yeah, we can do that. We had to drive it there. It was a whole nother thing we didn't factor in. How do we get all this food here without it spilling? Without like, are we gonna be able to cook there? And then when we seen the place, gonna let us see it. It was a kitchen, but it wasn't used anymore, so we couldn't cook anything in there. So we had to make sure everything was cooked, and we had to bring the warmers. Like so, we had to do so many things to get prepared for it. But we said, yeah, for sure at first, right? So it's just a matter of those type of things that you take. So that's what makes it hard, is what I'm saying, right? If you ever stood up and you had to peel potatoes, so you peel potatoes for 10 people. I always use this example. You do something for 10 people. I'm used to doing it for like 3 or 4, but say you do something for 10 people. It's not too bad. Double it. Double it again. Double it again. You start cooking for 60 to 150 people. That's a different kind of cooking. That's a different kind of peeling. That's a different kind of prep. That's a different kind of hurt on your feet and your back. So cooking, I have a little bit of bias with cooking. I mean, I don't mind doing it. I know it can make a couple dollars if you have the right systems. Like, so if you are in a restaurant space, it makes it totally easier for you to prep the night before, the day before, earlier in that day. You can put stuff in the walk-in freezer, get it out your way. You can use a convection oven, or you can use multiple ovens, or you can have heat trays, the warmers. Like some, you got a griddle, you got something that could flash, warm something up. There's different elements when you're in a kitchen. You might even have a deep fryer or a griddle, right? But when you're in your own kitchen, you're kind of resorting to the four eyes that you have in the oven that you have. And that's the thing to keep things warm. That's the thing to warm things up. That's the thing to make one sauce, to make another pot of this. And again, once you start going past like 10 people, like now you have to navigate it a little different. It's not impossible. I mean, just think about people who have big families, the people that cook on holidays, people who cook at their house in general. I mean, it's not impossible to do, but it's hard, is what I'm saying. Right? So this is Bill with Stuckey. I know I've been talking for a little bit, but I want to definitely give you some insight on the different levels of building, right? And when you're building, you probably just want to start with building your brand. It's free. Nowadays, you just tap into the social. You might want to start with the mid level, where you just kind of insert an idea and try it out. And you can definitely go with anything that you see. I'm talking about online, selling merch, doing drop shipping, selling courses, if you're selling intellectual property, um, doing physical labor like walking a dog or cutting grass or something of that nature. Doing gig work where you I don't know, maybe you babysit, or maybe you go help somebody paint. Um, Maybe you, like I said, you give up yourself, giving blood or something to that nature, going to some kind of donor. Even like washing cars. That was their original idea. Like, man, all I need is a bucket. I watched this dude do it one time. I don't know what was going on. I think it was like Haiti or Jamaica. Something was going on, but it was during COVID. Everything was shutting down, and he was out of work. And he was like, man, I know how to get money. I get money online anyway, but I'm gonna show you guys how to get money with no money. And he walked out his house, and he's like, where do we find change? So he went to like the ground near, I don't know, gas station or something, and he found a couple some change on the ground. I think he looked in his car or something like that first, or whatever. It was anything that was outside of his house though. So he got a couple pennies, he got some dimes, and then he went. He bought some candy once he got to like 25 cents. Then he was out there outside that same store trying to sell the candy, turned candy from 5 cents to 25 cents, all the way till he got to $1. Then he got to $1, he got some waters. Now he's selling the water for $2 to get to like $5, $10. Then he got to like $5, $10 or something like that. He went and got some soap and a bucket. He stole a bucket and got some free water, but it was COVID, so it was also he had to improvise. But then he was doing some little car washes, right? But you can make more money selling doing car wash because that's like $10, $20 a car. I don't know how much you charge for a car wash, but you're doing that. You do a couple of those, that's gonna get you your money up. But it's hard, is what I'm saying. It's not impossible. It's just hard. So, but if you had the brand, any of these things become less hard because now you have the brand where you already have a target audience that's rocking with you. They know you. So now if you was washing cars, you can tell your brand to people like, hey, we're doing a fundraiser car wash. You can get on your podcast and you can say, hey, we're doing, but if you just started and said, hey, let's say you're gonna sell vending machines, right? And this is a discreet thing. Nobody has to know that you have vending machines. But imagine if you started building a brand where you was selling candy, or like me, I sell sauce already, and then I came out with a vending machine. I would have way more people who were open or gave me options to put my vending machine in their store with my product versus me just coming out with a vending machine and then trying to put a product in there and then trying to find somewhere to put the vending machine. Truthfully, you should find a place to put the vending machine before you even buy a vending machine, but that's a whole nother vending training we can go over. I've been studying that too. Um, but however it goes, build with Stuckey, man. Stay focused, build your brand, keep building, learn these tools and these skills, get the mindset that you need to make it through any level, mid, hard, even just branding. Don't think branding is easy. It's not. It takes years to get your brand up and running. It's not impossible, but you got to get the know, like, trust factor and usually you have to pay if you move in expeditiously, right? If you're moving at a normal organic pace, then it's going to be a lot slower because you have to deal with the fact that people have to share it word of mouth. But we'll go over more stuff like this again. I definitely just wanted to include this so that way you can have a more up to date and a more reliable template to just know why we're building with Stuckey and why we're getting all these skills and we're doing all these different things. It's in order to build the brand, right? You pick one of those things that after we get the mindset and we learn, we're gonna run the play for the thing that builds up the brand, right? If you are a grill maker, if you're a cook, if you're a chef, you're gonna build a brand, but you're gonna take these tools with you and now in the mindset, and you're gonna attack as far as just really growing in the direction that you've set for yourself. Um, I appreciate your time. Have a good one. Peace.